Okay, this is a wonderful story, and this is called The Visitor. You know, I'm in the innkeeping business, and I am I'm on call 24/7, 7 days a week, and I get interrupted a lot for more towels and more toilet paper and all that kind of stuff. But it's Sunday, and it's Sunday afternoon, and I have just watched the last car leave the parking lot. So the inn is empty, and I have the rest of the Sunday afternoon to myself. And I really savored these times to myself because I was in service to people 24/7. So, and I used to get a little crotchety about getting interrupted during my free time, like having to take a business call or take a reservation, God forbid. But I savored my time so much. And shortly after this last car left, the doorbell to my back door rang. Now, I had gated, this is the back door onto my carport, and I had gated the one side of my carport that was on my driveway because I didn't like people coming up to that back door. And nobody used to come up to the back door. My boyfriend installed a doorbell for me so that I would never be surprised because I lived in a really small place. Anyway, the doorbell rang, and I noticed that I didn't feel crotchety, and I didn't feel out of sorts, even though I was really preparing for just an afternoon all to myself. I just felt different. I felt joyful for some reason, even though I didn't know who was at my back door. So I looked out my back door, and I looked over to the gate, and I see this, all I see is this bare chest. I can see that the person has a plaid shirt on, but it's open. And I see this bare, hairless chest. And I thought, who is that? So I went out on my porch, but it was weird because I didn't go out that door that I was looking out of. That went right out to my carport at 4 feet from where this person's standing. Instead, I walked through my living room and out the front door, down my front porch, and up the carport to the gate. And my God, there's an old man on a bicycle. He's got a baseball cap on. He's got this shirt on that's flapping open. It's 100 degrees in the shade. It's real hot outside. And he's got chewing tobacco in his mouth, and evidently from riding on his bicycle, all this chewing tobacco is just smeared up alongside of his face. And I say to him, "Well, hello, young man." And he said, "Well, hello, ma'am. I was just driving by on my bicycle, and I noticed your garden." And I said, "Wow, you did?" And he said, "If you don't," he was real apologetic. He said, I'm sorry if I'm disturbing you, but I just had to stop." He said, "What kind of beans are those?" And he pointed to my green beans. Well, if you've followed my garden story, you know I'm not a gardener. I just followed this vision. I had to plant this garden, and it became this incredible victory garden. Anyway, he's pointing at my beans. "What kind of beans are those?" he said. And I said, "Well, they're vining green beans." I didn't know what kind they were. He said, "Yeah, but what kind are they?" And I said, I don't know. They're just the kind that vine. You can see them vining up on the fence there." He said, "Well, where did you buy those beans?" And I said, "Oh, well, I think I bought the seeds at King Feed downtown, Wimberley." He said, "Oh." He said, "Now, are those tomatoes out there?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Have you ever had fried green tomatoes?" And I said, "I love fried green tomatoes." He said, "Do you save your seeds?" And I said, "I do. I save my seeds for all of the plants that make seeds. And I dry them, and then I use them for the next planting." He said, "Now, are those peppers out there too?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "Boy, this sure is a beautiful garden." And he said, "I wonder if you have saved any of those green bean seeds." And I said, "Well, I do. I have some." And then I thought, oh, he wants some seeds. And he said, "I sure would like to have some of those seeds if you have some to spare." And I said, "Oh, I have a whole bunch of them, and they're already dried, and they're in a little bowl here on my table on the porch. Let me run inside and get a baggie to put them in." So I ran inside. Again, I did not use the side door. I walked up the carport, across my front porch, in the living room door, through the living room, and back right there at the side door. I don't know why I was going in the front door. Anyway, I got in my kitchen and I opened my pantry door, and I stood there and I looked down at my bag, my box of baggies, and I'm standing there looking at the box of baggies, and I know this is going to sound weird. Suddenly, I can't move. I'm paralyzed. I know I'm looking at the baggies. I know I can't move, but I can't see the box of baggies. I know this doesn't make sense. I'm explaining this as best I can. I don't know how long I stood there, but I couldn't move. I was paralyzed. I couldn't move. It was like I just stopped, and something caused me to stop, and I couldn't move. Like I say, I don't know how much time passed, but I finally kind of got out of this. And when I came out of this, I knew that I'd been standing there looking at the box of baggies, knowing that I was looking at them, but I couldn't see them. And I also knew when I came out of this that I was standing there for quite some time, paralyzed. And I kind of shook this off and thought, I need to get this baggie to this guy for these seeds. So I bent down, I pulled a baggie out. I go out my front door, and on the way back to the gate where he was, I opened the baggie and I took 2 small handfuls of seeds and put them in this baggie and sealed the baggie, and I walked up to him and I said, "Here." And as I said, "Here," I noticed that there weren't just very many seeds in the baggie. Furthermore, the beans were mixed in with the chickpea seeds, so he had both. And I said, "Oh, you know what? I don't think there's enough seeds in here for you." And I said, "Besides that, they're mixed in with the chickpeas." He says, "Oh, I like chickpeas." He said, "No, that's fine. That's plenty." And I said, "Oh, let me give you some more." And he said, "No, that's plenty. That's plenty. And ma'am, I do appreciate these seeds." And I said, "Well, I'm so glad you stopped by." And he took the baggie and he put it in his shirt pocket of this open shirt he had on. And he said, he winked at me. Oh, and he had the bluest, like sky blue eyes. I just fixed on his eyes. And he winked at me and he said, "You keep planting those seeds and you keep sharing those seeds. You hear?" And I was just focused on his eyes, just thinking what beautiful eyes he had. And he had something for me. And he took this thing and he handed me this gift across the gate. And I'm just looking at him, and I take the gift and I kind of bring it back to myself, and he says, "Thank you, ma'am." And I turned around. Now, all of a sudden, everything's kind of getting slow again. And I didn't feel quite normal. And I mean, everything's fine. I just felt different. And I turned around with this gift. He'd given me this gift, and I'm holding it in my hand. I walked back up the carport, across my front porch, and I've got the gift in both hands. And when I get to my door, I transfer the gift very carefully to one hand, and I open my door with the other hand. I come inside, I turn around, I shut the door with my free hand, and then I take the gift back in both hands, and I look down, and my God, there's nothing there. And in an instant, I went, "Oh my God, he was an angel. Oh my God." So I ran out that front door and up the carport and down the driveway to River Road. I knew I would still be able to see him. I was going to yell at him. And I got to River Road, and I looked up River Road this way, and I looked down River Road this way, and nobody. There's no old man on a bicycle. And I just start bawling my eyes out. I'm just bawling and bawling and bawling. But I'm going to leave you with this. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. Hebrews 13:2. I've enjoyed you watching. Thanks.